Hello and welcome into a Thursday edition of Gold and Blue Now. I'm Chip Fontanazza filling in for Tony Caridi. It's game day for the Mountaineer football team, and West Virginia will take on the South Florida Bulls tonight in Tampa Bay. We will have more on that in just a second. But first, WVU has filed a motion to dismiss the Big East lawsuit against the Mountaineers. The motion WVU files argues that they should not be subject to a ruling by a Rhode Island court because the school and institution is in the state of West Virginia. And WVU originally filed its lawsuit against the Big East about 1 month ago after it accepted an invitation to join the Big 12 Conference next season. Now, shortly after that, the Big East Conference filed its own lawsuit saying that WVU has to stay in the Big East for the 27 months because that is in the Big East bylaws. And of course, West Virginia will have to try and resolve this lawsuit soon with the Big East because this only doesn't affect their scheduling, but also affects scheduling for next season in both the Big East Conference and in the Big 12 Conference. Now, moving on to the game tonight, West Virginia will face a South Florida team that is just 1-5 in the Big East. They haven't quite lived up to expectations for this season, but they may be without quarterback B.J. Daniels, who didn't play last week against Louisville with an injury. Bobby Evell played the whole game. But according to head coach Skip Holtz, Daniels isn't the only player who might not play. He's had a few players injured on his defense, and he may be a few men short coming into tonight's matchup.
Yeah, certainly not the week you want to go into and be limping into the final game with your secondary when you're playing against a team that's throwing the ball for 350 yards a game. But just we've had a lot of guys banged up. One of the problems we've had is in the secondary is just being able to get the consistency with guys that are there week in and week out, and it seems like it's been a little bit of a revolving door.
Now, this is a very big weekend for West Virginia because they still have a chance to go to the BCS. They have to defeat South Florida, and they also have to have Cincinnati defeat UConn to earn that bid. Now, back to the quarterback situation for USF. The Mountaineers still don't know who they are going to see, but they are preparing for both quarterbacks. Defensive end Julian Miller says it was just like any other week preparing for a game.
A little, I don't want to say difficult, but it's definitely a little switch up, from what we've seen all year long. We haven't seen too many athletic quarterbacks with his type of speed and athleticism. And so it's just another week for us and another challenge, I could say. And going into the game, we're really focusing on him playing because he's a guy who wants to have the team on his back, who loves to have that pressure.
Remember, you can come back to WVMetroNews.com later on tonight to get complete post-game reaction from the Mountaineers game against the South Florida Bulls. Well, that will do it for this edition of Gold and Blue Now. I'm Chip Fontanazza.